It's a pleasure having you tuned in charge of Uganda Family TV. Thank you so much for choosing us among the very many stations. We don't take you for granted. And I want to take this opportunity to welcome you to the Family Hour, empowering families, one episode at a time. This is the Monday edition where we discuss education and career. Now, today we have an interesting topic. We are discussing vocational education and how vocational training shapes tomorrow's workforce. You do not have to miss this. Of course, we have a lot of misconceptions when it comes to vocational education. We have a lot of issues. Very many parents think vocational and technical education should be for children who have failed or who have not passed to the required capacity, which is wrong. So today we have a lot in stock. You do not have to miss out. Edrine Osteen Mukalazi is my name. Now, vocational education was set on the global agenda in 2015 when the UN Sustainable Development Goals 4.3 stated that by 2030 there should be equal access for all women and men to afford and qualify and to afford quality technical, vocational, and tertiary education. Now, this also included university in Uganda. After the introduction of UPE, that was around 2000, the early 2003, the government now embarked on secondary and vocational education. This was clearly seen under what we call the BTVET. BTVET is Business, Technical, Vocational Education and Training, and which that BTVET Act of 2008 and the Uganda Vocational Qualification Framework. Now, these signaled a new era for Uganda's vocational education. That is why we see a number of institutions, vocational and technical institutions, coming up. And we've also seen the government putting in a lot of efforts, especially in empowering the Directorate of Industrial Training and Uganda Business Education examination body, that is UBTEB, and very many other units. So you realize that even in the new lower secondary school curriculum, as we discussed earlier, there is an introduction of vocational units where subjects like agriculture, subjects like entrepreneurship have been now considered as vocational and purely vocational, and they should be taught in a vocational manner. But today we want to really get to the gist of vocational training and how it shapes tomorrow's workforce. With us is the one Mr. Matsiko Aggrey Gariho, who is the principal WEC Vocational and Technical Institute. Now, WEC is located on Old Killer Road, but if just in case you don't know what WEC stands for, WEC is Women's Education Center. Now, this is an institute that was put up by the Mothers Union of the Diocese of Kampala, and it was initiated so that it can help especially the less privileged people, like school dropouts and very many other categories of people, as we shall hear from the horse's mouth. Mr. Matsiko, you're most welcome to the Family Hour this evening.
Thank you, sir.
It's a pleasure having you sparing this precious time to be with us here to educate the nation.
I'm welcome.
Yes, kindly greet our
I'm
viewers.
I'm called Matsiko Aggrey, and I'm so privileged this evening to be here to talk about Women Education Center, WEC Vocational and Technical Institute, on the platform of vocational education. I'm a mechanical engineer by profession, and I'm a trained vocational and technical instructor. I have it all. I've had quite a lot of experience. I'm a trained instructor of technical and vocational education, and I know BTVET because I am part of the development of vocational education in Uganda.
Okay, that is very, very powerful to hear, especially when you say that you're part of the development. But before we even get into the discussion, we would like to know how WEC comes in place, WEC Vocational and Technical Institution, just to hear about WEC.
WEC Vocational and Technical Institute belongs to Mothers Union and Christian Women Fellowship of Kampala Diocese, Church of Uganda. It was started way back in the early 1990s by Women Education Center, by Mothers Union and Christian Women Fellowship, and has been in existence now since early 1990s. He's on ground, has trained very many privileged boys and girls, and we are accredited by National Examining Boards, Uganda Business and Technical Examination Center, Education, and Directorate of Industrial Training. We have examination centers for both UBTEB and Directorate of Industrial Training. We train the youth, we train the elderly, and we train all people. This institute, as you have heard, belongs to Mothers Union and Christian Women Fellowship. Does not take only Christians. It also takes other people from different privileged places. People like Muslims, people like Catholics, people of all nature, both the young and the youth, both the old and the youth, both boys and girls. We train them, we skill them, and in the field we have had quite a big impact since 1990s.
Wow, we want to commend you for the great work that you are doing in shaping tomorrow's workforce.
Yes.
I know in 1990s when it was established, it was tomorrow, but those who went through work are now living there today.
Yeah, they are quite big.
Yeah.
There are many. They are placed in very
True.
many places. They are in the field, in the industries. They are in the hotel fraternity. They are in the industrial places. They are working in garages. They are working in hotels. They are working in workshops, tailoring workshops. They are in very many places.
Okay.
We train plumbers. We train all sorts of people. Caterers. We train motor vehicle mechanics. We train tailoring, fashion and design. We train hairdressing. That's cosmetology. We train builders. We train knitting. That is the sweater making, and many other, including business skills education. So we are all round. We take on all levels of education. You know, with the UBTEB, we take on P7 leavers. We also take senior 4 leavers for national certificate. And we also take on senior 6 leavers for national diplomas. Then with the DIT, it caters for those even who are in informal education. Even if you may not have had P7 or you may not have done even senior 4, you qualify to do DIT. DIT can take on everybody, including informal education.
Okay.
And it has been so nice that the government now embraces Directorate of Industrial Training, which is skilling. Many people don't know what skilling means.
Actually, I think if you can pick it up from there,
Yes.
we've seen very many non-formal programs coming up. There was the presidential initiative in skilling the girl child. These days, they've made it girl and boy child. They've come up very many short trainings, and now these days I think the president is pushing the industrial hubs and very many sorts, and very many people really do not understand how these all work and who qualifies to do this and what happens after you going through such trainings. I think we pick it up from there.
Yeah.
What is the main instance of this skilling and how does it happen?
Now, the skilling appears in Uganda, I think now in 3 forms. One, in line with the national examining boards, which have been put there by Ministry of Education, they appear in 3 forms. One is called Uganda Business and Technical Education Board. This examines both technical and business courses. Okay. And they take on at different levels. Senior 4 dropouts, P7 dropouts, and then not dropouts, but senior 4 graduates, P7 graduates, and then senior 6 graduates. Okay. Of course, they go at different levels. For P7, they do a certificate called Uganda Community Protechnic Certificate. For senior 4 leavers, they do national certificates. And for senior 6 leavers, they do national diplomas, both in the technical and in business. Now, the second form is in line with the National Examining Board that has been put down by Ministry of Education, Uganda government. It's called Directorate of Industrial Training. This is skilling. What we mean by skilling are the competencies or different activities you put together to make a skill. For instance, if you are going to cook or to bake a cake, there are very many activities you do. You mix the dough of wheat flour, you put in sugar, you put in other ingredients. Those we call competencies. Now these competencies, when put together, build up what we call a skill. So these are the skills which DIT examines and gives certificates. We have DI certificates which are the first certificate is called modular and is done by only practicals. The expert will come, see you how you bake, how you mix the wheat flour, how you mix sugar, and how you put all things together, different competencies, and finally how you finish up producing your cake. Then they give you marks, and when you score the pass mark, then you get the certificate, the first certificate, which is called modular. Modular means anybody can take it on even when you did not finish P7. Okay. So it is equivalent to P7 level. Now when you finish that, skills also have levels. The first one is modular, which is equivalent to P7. The second one is called level 1. You study for a year, and then when you finish, you sit for 2 exams, one practical and another one theory. And when you get the pass marks, then DIT will come and examine you and give you the scores. Then they give you another certificate called level 1 certificate, which is equivalent to senior 4. Now, taking care of this one who may not have had a chance to do formal education. If you didn't get a chance to go to P7, then you can now pass through this DIT and then go up to an equivalent of senior 4 certificate. Now, when you finish that, you can come back and do another level, which is called level 2, and which is equivalent to senior 6. DIT comes after training and learning for a year, doing practicals and theory, and then examines you both theoretical and practical. And when you pass, getting the pass marks, then DIT will qualify you and give you a certificate called level 2. This level 2 is equivalent to senior 6. DIT gives you the equivalence. You can even stand as an MP if you have that level, because DIT will qualify you with an equivalent of senior 6. You remember very well that the qualification for being an MP in Uganda is senior 6 or
equivalent.
It's equivalent.
Yeah.
That's what they mean. Then you can come back and do the fourth level, which is called level 3, and which is equivalent to a diploma, which also takes 1 year, and which you come and sit practical exam and then theoretical exam. But at level 3, they also do management and entrepreneurship. So you qualify to become a manager because you have an equivalent of a diploma. Now that is now what we call DIT. The third one is for the health. The health who also have also their own set of National Examining Board. So in line with their line of examining board, they also have their lineage of skilling at different levels. So those are the 3 different forms of vocational education in Uganda. And the examinations, the National Examining Boards give you the equivalence. So you can qualify even to go at different levels of education, depending on what level you have reached at. Now, what has happened is that most of the UBTEB graduates were very many and has been on the ground for quite a long time. But they missed a big part of the practical. So since the inception of Directorate of Industrial Training, the labor market is highly yearning for these skills because the graduates of DIT have hands-on and they are equipped with skills on the ground. If you tell him to repair the vehicle with brakes, he does it because he has had that experience and he has acquired the skill. If you tell this piece of shirt or this piece of shorts, he was able to do it because he did it practically and was tested and was qualified to have acquired that skill. If you say, plait this hair for this lady who has come in the salon, he knows what to do. They know the type of Vaseline which will not react with somebody's skin. If you are light skinned, if you are dark skinned, they know because they are qualified. They have had quite a lot of experience in the field and they know what to do. So the labor market as today yearns for DIT graduates.
Well,
it's a very big pressure.
Actually,
Yes.
now that you say the labor market is really yearning for these people,
Yes.
you realize that we've had a song that we've sung for quite a long time. I remember when we were still in secondary, number one cause of unemployment was the nature of our education system that trains job seekers rather than job creators. And I think this is now answering this particular problem. But we first of all want to draw a difference between vocational and technical. How are the two different?
Now,
So what is considered vocational and what is considered technical?
technical is what has been on ground being examined in what we call Uganda Business and Technical Examinations Board.
Okay.
These learnings have been on ground for many years, but 80% of their learning has been theoretical. They had some practical, yes, but only by 20%. Now, the vocational is what we call this BTVET, which is introducing in skilling. For them, as we talk since inception, 70% of their learning is purely practical and 30% is theoretical. In other words, they produce graduates who are hands-on, who have the skill and who have had competencies, who know what to do. So why we have all these challenges? Because when I was training to become an instructor, they exposed us some of this information. In developed countries, this China, Japan, and Germany you hear of, most of their high school graduates go to what we call blue-collar training. Blue-collar training is vocational education, hands-on. Now, the other one, which we get majority of us in our public universities, is called white-collar. Now, the 20% of these countries in Germany, China, Japan are the ones who go for white-collar. These are public universities and similar institutions who train managers. You know, in our universities, we are training managers. Now, to come and manage what we don't have, what industries do we have? What commercial firms do we have? Where is the industrialization really which should employ all these managers we are training in universities? It is not there. So, but the reverse is true in Uganda and in Africa at large, where 80% of our high school graduates go to public universities to train as managers. Meanwhile, 20% only is the one that goes for blue collar, which is vocational. And that's why industrialization is going to delay to come in Uganda. It's until then, when the mindset of Ugandans has changed, that industrialization will come. Because in China, some of these chips you see which make a computer are produced locally at homes in cottage industries because they have had skills. They have had skills. They know how to make these small chips, these small units which they combine and make a computer. They have had hands-on. They have had this training of blue collar. You find a village producing a certain chip, another village producing a certain chip, and when they bring all these chips together, they assemble a computer. Now, the problem is that in Uganda, 80% of high school learners go to white collar in universities. Now, to come and do what? What industries do we have for these managers we are training in universities? Where are the commercial firms where should employ all these managers? Where are the workshops? Huge workshops we have really that should employ these graduates of our managers we are training in universities. They are not there. And that's why we have skyrocketing unemployment in the country. Yeah. So it is a very big sense that the government has come to support vocational education in skilling so that we go down and start equipping the hands with skills and then the country will now get on industrialization. Definitely, we are going to start developing cottage industries where we start producing small things. And on the other side of the coin, This Bachelor of Science, if you go to encyclopedia and look for the meaning of the word science, it is studying experiments that were done in the 18th century, and you study them theoretically. So we are actually producing theoretical engineers from some of these public universities. And it is true. Go to encyclopedia, look for the meaning of the word science. Actually, the bachelors we should be having, which are relevant, should be Bachelor of Technology. I wish we had a University of Technology in Uganda. Then we would be at least be producing technologists who have hands-on, who can produce parts for vehicles, parts for commercial agriculture, parts for this any other thing you need every time and again. But instead, we are producing graduates who are theoretical as managers to come and manage what we don't have. So vocational education is very important. I highly commend the government of Uganda for having put a very big emphasis on vocational education. And as we talk, the labor market actually is looking for DIT graduates because they have skills, they have had vocational skills, and they have hands-on in skills. Employ him or her, you will be shocked. He will plait the hair, he will repair the vehicle, he will do on-site, produce good work.
Okay.
And they are knowledgeable, they are on ground, they know what they are doing. So promoting vocational education, in other words, is the starting of industrialization in Uganda. And it is highly commendable. It is the way to go. It is the way to go. The whole world, you have just talked about, the Millennium Goal also endorsed it.
Yes.
It is world over.
Yes. In fact, we just delayed because
we have delayed actually. Should have gone much further than that. I wish we had taken this like 20 years ago. It would have been much better at a higher level by now. But it's very unfortunate. But it's good we are on ground.
Yes.
Government is supporting vocational education all the way from the word go. From those who may not have had chance to have formal education, to those who have senior 4 graduates, those who are senior 6 graduates, even if you may have had a bachelor and maybe you have looked for a job and you have nowhere to go, get a skill. Then you start from there. Then your professional, which is being a manager, will find you on the way. At least when you can feed yourself. When you can afford to feed yourself. You can transport yourself. You can wear yourself.
You don't need to join the jobless brotherhood.
Jobless brotherhood.
And paint piglets.
And start paying piglets. And start moving on streets.
And sit on the Constitutional Square the whole day. Now, we're looking at the enrollment. Is there a systematic and a formal curriculum that is designed? Because now we know there is a BTVET Act of 2008. Yes. So does it provide for a curriculum which you are supposed to follow, or every institution can teach what they think is...
Oh, wonderful. DIT is a very systematic educational center of education. Okay. They have a written curriculum for all disciplines, right from agriculture to construction, to motor vehicle mechanics, to hairdressing, to tailoring, to fashion and design, to knitting, up to music industry, including sports. They have written curriculum. All these disciplines are highlighted with what they call assessment books. They have designed a curriculum for each and every level. It is not even flat. Each level has where it starts and has where it stops. Depending on what level you have entered in, you will find what you are supposed to do and what you are supposed to leave for another level and what you are supposed to do for another level when you come. So they are quite systematic and it's very beautiful. They have a formal way of learning.
Okay.
Yes.
That is very, very...
They have a formal way of learning.
Interesting.
Yes.
And yeah, I think that is very important.
They have assessment books for all disciplines, A to Z. Everything is systematic. It's not a question of just jumping on it. It's not a question of an institution doing its own. They have exams which are registered for, which are timetabled, and which are sat at the same time in the whole country.
So in reference to work,
Yeah.
which you had,
Yes.
you talked about 2 assessment bodies. We
Yeah.
have UBTEB.
You have there are 3. You have UBTEB, we have DIT, and you have UNIMAP. That is for health.
For the health.
Practitioners.
Yes. But I want us to concentrate majorly on these 2,
Yeah.
UBTEB and DIT. So does it mean that if I'm a student, I enroll for a course, I have to go through the 2 examination bodies?
No.
So is it you, the principals, that choose for me where to go, or it is me who goes where I want?
We don't choose for the young ones who have come for learning.
Okay.
Actually, we don't even advise parents to choose for the youth.
Okay.
It is the child who comes and says, you know what, me, I like riding a bicycle or a motorcycle. So I want to train as a mechanic for motorcycle repairing. If he says, you know what, me, I have passion for hairdressing.
But can't a parent come in and say, okay, you have a passion for hairdressing, but when I look at you can do better in cosmetology?
In cosmetology. No, that one is agreed upon. But in many cases, it is the horse's mouth that should make the decision. Because when you bring a child for you want her to do tailoring, and for her she wants hotel, she wants to do catering, to go and work in hotels, who is going to go in class at the end of the day? It is the child. Now she will be discouraged because you have made a choice which she doesn't like. And at the end of the day, these are people who actually don't study. They end up running away. They run away. They actually don't study. I have an organization that brought about 15 for learning, and we graduated only 5.
So someone drops out in secondary, and maybe
they were forced to take some courses which they didn't like.
Okay.
So it is the child who should make her own decision of the discipline he or she likes. And then after that, then learning comes. Because the interest is there, the love is there, and then the learning definitely takes place.
Okay.
So it is not the child, it's not the parent, neither anybody like us who are managing the vocation to decide for them.
Okay.
No. Because you know, in education we say the brain is blank like a white paper. So when you come to my vocational institute, I presume that your head brain is blank as a plain paper, meaning that you can do any course as long as you have the liking.
At that very point, let's take a short commercial break, and when we return, we are going now to discuss about which courses are considered to be vocational and which courses are considered to be technical. Please stick with us. We are taking a short commercial break. Thank you so much. You are still watching Church of Uganda Family TV. This is the Family Hour, Monday edition. Monday, we are always discussing education and career. Today, there is something we've brought on table, which is unique but very, very important. We are discussing vocational education and how this vocational education, vocational training shapes tomorrow's workforce. Very many parents out there, I'll still re-echo this. We send our children to study some of these vocational technical courses after failing to prove that they can maybe make it for A-level or secondary. For instance, when your child gets 20 aggregates when you expected them to have 7, so you think you can take them there because it is a place for failures, which is wrong, considering the BTVET Act of 2008. It brings it clearly that vocational and actually even in secondary school you realize that we have the new lower level secondary school curriculum, which is also aiming at improving on the way the children study. In other words, it is making things more practical than theoretical, as it has been the system you and I went through. That will be history if we all embrace this kind of training. irrespective of what you do, you might be qualified, like Brinko, who is a camera person. I don't know whether this is also practical, but he can as well go and get a cosmetology course. Well, we are with the one, Mr. Matsiko Aggrey, who is the principal of WEC Vocational and Technical Institute, which is located at Old Killer Road. Mr. Matsiko,
yes.
Before the break, we wanted to understand which courses qualify to be, or which courses are considered to be vocational, and which courses are, because when you go to secondary now, subjects were clustered into humanities, science, and vocational, where we have subjects like entrepreneurship, subjects like, I think, agriculture, and other subjects, ICT, and other subjects, which are considered to be vocational. So, if we are picking it from there, which courses are considered vocational and technical, so that a parent watching us right now can have a clear mind of how to deal with this decision of taking their child to a vocational and technical institute.
Okay, thank you, moderator. Technical courses are actually what we call science subjects in a simple definition.
Okay.
Technical means these are course units that are both practical and at the same time scientific. Now, these are courses like motor vehicle mechanics, like building and construction, like water engineering, like electrical engineering, like tailoring. Tailoring is both technical and arts, and like electronics, these TV and radios. All those are technical. But we also have those which are business courses, like catering and catering. We call it hotel and institutional catering. That one is purely business, it's not technical. We have courses like cosmetology, hairdressing and beauty. That one is business. We have, of course, we have these other business courses like business management, like accounts. All those, they fall under the category of business. But now when you reflect it to vocational,
Yes.
when you reflect vocational means you are now studying it from a practical perspective. So in other words, all of them can now fall into vocational, as long as they turn into learning skills. So in other words, even if you may be doing a business course, but it can also appear as a vocational course, because it is practical. So the word vocational, actually, when you look for the meaning of the word vocational, it means that the practicability of that you are learning, the practical part. It takes it from being theoretical now to the practical part of it. And that's why we bring in the word skilling. So the word skilling does not only take to science, it also takes to business courses. So vocational encompasses both of them, as long as you are acquiring hands-on skills. Then we say that one is what is vocational. But when you come to technical, then you mean about science courses only, those which are scientific. But then the other ones which are not scientific, like we have seen accounts, like we have talked catering, like we have talked, those are now business. We call them business courses. That's why the National Examining Board is called Uganda Business. And the technical, in other words, it examines business and the technical, but vocational, where now DIT comes in, takes all of them. Because they all fall now on the skill part of it, the vocationalization, the practicability, the learning of how the skill should be put into practice. So it takes both technical and business courses. Because some of these business courses are also practical. I mean, if you go to a hotel and you're going to have a waitress, you should be knowing what to do. You should have the words to welcome you. You should have some soft words of talking to you, and even presenting a plate of food with all the incense and all takes to give it to you. So it should also be practical. So the practical does not only take science alone. No, it also takes business. That's why vocational now is being examined by DIT. It's general. Actually, DIT is a merit examining national board because it examines both technical and business, but in a practical form. And that's why we call it vocational. If you go encyclopedia and look for the meaning of vocationalization, it's studying the practicability of these courses.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Of course, you've answered it, and you've answered it very well. Yeah. So among those courses you've talked about, what does work offer?
Work, we offer quite a number of them, because we offer, when I look at technical, we offer motor vehicle mechanics, we offer tailoring, we offer plumbing. This is water engineers or water technicians. We offer electrical installation. We offer building and construction. That is now on the side of technical. Then on the side of business, we offer catering, we offer hairdressing and beauty, we offer knitting. This is sweater making. We also offer agriculture. We have started offering agriculture as one, because we even have land there. So we offer quite a number of them, both at all levels. If you come as a UBTEB student, we can take you on, because we are also accredited by UBTEB as a national examining board. If you come for skills, say me I want skills, then we take you in line to be examined by DIT. So we have different people at different levels and in different departments. You find somebody is doing electrical installation, but the one is in the UBTEB line, another one is in what? In DIT line. So this is studying skilling, when this one is studying to be examined by UBTEB. Of recent, UBTEB has also come down to become more practical, but they have gone only 50%. They are saying they are now 50% practical and 50% theoretical. But DIT is still much better than them, because DIT is at 70% practical, right from inception. And they are maintaining that status. And the labor market really yearns for DIT graduates, because they have proved a lot capable in skills presentation down there in the labor market. Yes.
Well, getting now to our topic of discussion, where we are looking at how vocational training shapes tomorrow's workforce. If vocational training is embraced, if technical education is embraced by all Ugandans.
By all Ugandans?
Yes.
Wow.
What for example, you as a principal and you as a tutor, a trained tutor, where do you see the future of Uganda if this is embraced and we have created the minimum standards?
If we have created minimum standards of vocational education, and we have like more than 80% of our high school and all graduates going for blue-collar training, which is vocational education, which is skilling, then this country will be at the foot of industrialization. Because cottage industries will come. You'll find about 20 workshops in Kampala making gomeses, making suits. These suits you are putting on, which are coming from Turkey, which are coming from China,
and will buy them expensively.
Will now be being made here. You know what?
And the traders always complain over high taxes.
You know what? All these suits, good suits we put on, all these gomeses, all these MP suits, MP ties will all be made here, because the skills will be on ground. You want the best suit, you can find it being produced by a certain workshop in Kamocha. You want the best gomes, you can find it in Latete or in some shops selling. So almost everything will be made. You know why Ugandans like made from China, made from UK? Because we don't have made from Uganda, which is good.
Even as we push buy Uganda, build Uganda.
Build Uganda, buy Uganda has been pushed up and down. But you know, people they are buying Uganda, selling Uganda, actually when they are selling products that are not made here. You know what? I don't know if you have seen this. Buy Uganda, made Uganda shops are selling imported products.
True, that is true.
These suits you find there are made from Turkey.
One time, some furniture company was challenged that if you say purely that this is buy Uganda, build Uganda, show us anything Ugandan out of your furniture. And indeed it was.
I was overwhelmed the other day. There's a product I found that says made in Uganda, but again, when you look behind, you find made in China. In other words, Ugandans have taken a very big step. They are going to China ordering for products,
yes,
and they tell them, please label them made in Uganda. But when actually they are being made where? In China. Now, these are the foods, the products we are selling in buy Uganda, build Uganda. We are talking about buy Uganda, build Uganda, but we are selling foreign products. So it's until then when a majority of Ugandans have changed their mindset and have agreed to embrace this vocational education that industrialization will come. And how is it going to come? It's going to come in cottage industries. We shall start producing charcoal briquettes. We shall start producing. I was overwhelmed the other day. We are making now bulbs are made in Uganda. Do you know?
Yes.
Bulbs, these electric bulbs are being made in Uganda. When everything is being made in Uganda. Even when you want to go and see how they are being made, you can go and see. Because the skills will have entered the country, many will be in the different workshops of, say, building, of, say, clothes, of, say, plastic products, of, say, anything, shoes you want, everything you want. In other words, the country will be going to industrialization. In other words, the dream we are looking at of turning Uganda into a third world country, from a third world country to a second world country, and maybe to a first world country, is going to be brought by this vocationalization we are talking about. Because these industries, the China, the Germany, you hear of, my friend, 80% of their graduates at all levels go to blue collar. And that's why industrialization has gone to Germany, has gone to China, has gone to India, has gone to Japan. You think, how is China threatening the whole world? Because cottage industries are at home. At home. In all departments, in all disciplines. So you can imagine if 80% of our graduates are all being assimilated in blue-collar training, then products of all things would now be being made in Uganda. We are so embraced that we have minerals, we have all types of good food, we have all types of fiber, cloth. What can't we produce? If anything, really, with all the blessings God gave us. So the what I see in Uganda after embracing all this blue-collar training and vocationalization, industrialization will come to Uganda. And that's what we all cherish.
Yes.
That's what we all cherish.
Yes.
But unfortunately, we are not only it's not hitting Uganda only, by the way. It's hitting the whole African continent. Even Kenya, even Tanzania, Zambia, Mozambique, South Africa, we are all in the same bracket. The vocational education is not being taken as serious. And it is the way to go, because it is where industrialization is going to start to take us to another level, from third world to second world, and maybe later to third world.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, to you who are into the training and for an institution as work, why do you think people have not really embraced vocational training yet, even when a lot of messages have been sent out? Because you realize there's even free training that that used to be offered, where they give you training and they even give you startup capital. That was skilling the girl child, presidential initiative of skilling the girl child. And then there was also the industrial hubs and all that. But still, even with that, very many people are hesitant to go for such trainings, to embrace vocational training. Why do you think?
The problem is the mindset.
Okay.
Ugandan mindset still believes if you have not gone to university, you have not studied. But meanwhile, university graduates are on the street.
Exactly.
Many of them don't have employment.
True.
Because even if you say, what can you do so that I pay you? He can only talk about managerial and white paper. That's why we say they are white collar. So what can you do today so that I pay you? At least produce some work. Then I pay you. That's the problem. So it's the mindset of Ugandans which must change so that schools like Wake Vocational Institute can have many learners. About 10 years ago, by the way, the government put money in Central Bank. You know how they wanted? They wanted a group of only 5 graduates of any skilling at any level to be given 5 million, and then they invest in equipment. Money kept in the Central Bank for about 10 years and was returned back to government. Can you imagine? Meanwhile, graduates are on streets looking for jobs. They said, what can you do? Can you go in the village, in the garden and produce maize? Can you produce beans? Can you produce cloth? What can you produce? And then we give you money for equipment. They are giving 5 million. 5 million, even if they didn't want to work, at least they would say, let's buy border and start making money for us. But at least they will have where to start from. But where are they? They said, what are you? What qualification do you have? Are you a skilled person? Yes. What do you know? What are you doing? No, me, I am a tailor. Me, I am a hairdresser. Me, I am a motor vehicle mechanic. Oh, so what are you going to do? We are going to do this. Beautiful. Have the money. This money was taken to the bank and was taken back to government.
So
Can you imagine? Can you imagine that? There is even free education, but people don't want even to go and study.
True.
So where is the problem? Problem is mindset. Ugandan's mind still believes that if you have not gone to university, you have not had education. But university graduates are on the streets looking for jobs. Meanwhile, do you know what? Our graduates are a hot cake. Do you know now we are in September?
Yes.
They have started booking for them.
Okay.
Yes, they are booking for our graduates. And they are nowhere to be seen. Because immediately they finish, the hotels, the workshops, sites, and the industries just grab them away. Okay, they are not paid a lot of money, but at least they are earning a living. They are earning a living.
Yes.
Yes, they are earning a living. Yes. Then going on the street, you are still a beggar to your palate for
And
another
a
10
burden.
years or 15 years to come. Painfully, you know, when your parent has paid a lot of school fees, take you to the university, and you have acquired education. But this one, an embassy came during COVID, wanted level 3 tailors to be given dollars. They are nowhere to be seen. Yesterday, somebody called me. He says he wants about 5 to work as waitresses. He wants about 4 to go in the kitchen and cook, and a supervisor. You cannot supervise in a hotel when you are not a hotelier. You supervise what? If you are supervise people who are cooking food, you must be an experienced person in cooking food.
True.
Because if they make a mistake, then you know where it is.
Exactly.
So if you have trained to become a manager and yet you don't have any skills in your hands, what are you going to manage, my friend? You are managing nothing. And that's why our unemployment is skyrocketing every time and again. So Uganda is in a better position when we have embraced vocational education. And believe me, that will be the beginning of industrializing Uganda, which everybody likes, which we all cherish, and which we all like.
True.
Yes.
Mr. Matsiko, as we wind up this discussion, what would be your last remarks when it comes to vocational training?
I would say that my few remarks about vocation is that beautiful. Important now is the campaign for everybody to know what skills can do. Regardless of whatever level of education you have, I would encourage everybody at least to hold a skill. Actually, the right word for skill, we don't simply call them skills, by the way.
Yeah.
We call them life skills. The moment you have acquired it, it will never go away from you. You live with it until you die. So let everybody, regardless of whatever level of education, at least acquire a skill. Meanwhile, as we are waiting for your big employment, your wish, your mind, you have a living which can take you to another level. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Matsiko. And to you, our viewer, this is an eye-opener. Sometimes we politicize even what doesn't need to be political. If there is an opportunity for you to improve on your life skills, why don't you grab it and go? At the end of that day, even if you don't support NRM, this skill is not going to be painted in your head as NRM. You have your life skill. Whichever government will be in power, it is your skill. You have your skill. You'll earn a living out of it. So let us embrace very many of these. And WEC is one of those institutions that are really offer almost free services, free training, because when you look at the charge is really almost free. So it is better we embrace some of these trainings, and I believe this is one of the ways we can transform our lives and then transform Uganda, because for how long shall we cry about unemployment and accuse people for not creating job opportunities? Yes, there is an opportunity for you to create your own employment. Don't you think that is very good? Yes. Yeah, that is why I started by saying today's discussion was really so much important to all of us. Now, the young people, I challenge you this evening, make sure that you at least have a skill. We have short courses. You can spend the 2 months and learn how to bake, learn cosmetology, learn hairdressing, learn motor vehicle engineering. You know, a lot of things you can learn and have your skill at hand, because this skill never rots. It will help you at a certain point when you cannot afford employment. Edrine Osteen Mukalazi is my name. This is the Family Hour. Tomorrow is Family Health. You don't need to miss the edition of Tuesday. I have worked with Brinko Ategeka, the camera person who is going to also equip himself with hairdressing skills. Muhomaza in transmission, and Jonah Jal, the producer of this show. Good night. God bless you again.